At this particular time, we have not found any debris. I truly believe that we're out there and we're going to find something.
Breaking now at 4, search teams on and over Lake Erie trying to find any sign of a small plane that disappeared last night.
Now 6 people were on board that jet taking off from BURKE Lakefront Airport, headed for Columbus, but they never made it.
The Now's James Girardi has been in constant contact with the Coast Guard. James, officials hoping for a positive outcome here.
Yeah, Rob, that's right. As of this morning, Coast Guard officials were hopeful that they would find these 6 passengers, 3 adults and 3 kids that were on board this jet. But that hope, it's dwindling. There's been no indication or any sign of this plane in the water, and there's been no indication of anyone in the water. I want to show you video from the search last night. The Coast Guard arrived here almost immediately when they were notified that air traffic control had lost contact with this jet. Officials have reported that the plane took off just before 11 o'clock went down, and it went down almost immediately after, roughly 2 miles off the coast. The 2 families were reportedly watching the Cavs game, and this plane, it was headed back to Columbus, where they're from. It's kept in a hangar at the Ohio State Airport. The Coast Guard has a large search area here at Lake Erie, 16 by 8 nautical miles. Despite not finding any debris, though, they're still describing this as a search and rescue. Listen.
I'm always hopeful whenever we're still conducting a search out there. I truly believe that we're out there and we're going to find something. Having done search and rescue cases myself as a pilot, every time I go out, I'm looking to find the needle in the haystack, and I'm hopeful that I'll do that. So yes, we're very helpful, and we'll be very hopeful up until the point that we have to turn the search off and we switch over to assisting with recovery.
Right now, there are multiple Coast Guard aircraft. We've been watching helicopters come and go from the airport all day, as well as a boat. Even assistance from the Canadian Air Force is here to help. Right now, we're waiting on word from a private third-party company contracted to de-ice planes here at BURKE Airport. We're waiting to find out if this jet was de-iced before it took off last night. For now, reporting live at the BURKE Airport downtown, I'm James Girardi, News 5.
Thank you, James. News 5 investigators have uncovered the plane belonged to John Fleming. He was both the owner of the plane and in the pilot's seat when it disappeared last night. We found Fleming does have a pilot's license. It was issued in 2015. As for the plane, it's similar to this, a Cessna 525C. It was manufactured in 2012. So what are the rules when it comes to flying in bad weather? Investigator Sarah Buttison has the answers. Sarah, you've learned that pilots actually make the call here.
You've got it right, Tara. Those are the rules. It is up to the pilot to decide whether it is safe to take off. This is video right here of the Coast Guard searching for the missing Cessna today. A Federal Aviation Administration spokesperson told me pilots make decisions on flights. That also includes whether to de-ice a plane. No word, of course, tonight on whether John T. Fleming requested the plane be de-iced prior to takeoff. We do know Fleming was issued a pilot's license, like you just said, Tara, back in 2015. But the FAA spokesperson couldn't tell us today if that's his first license or if he has a longer history of piloting planes. So, Tara, we're going to be following this story closely and bringing you some new information as soon as we get it.
Thanks, Sarah.
Okay, so now we have to ask this question. Could bad weather at takeoff have played a part in all of this? That's why we bring in Chief Meteorologist Mark Johnson. Mark?
Absolutely. There were squalls around last night when the plane departed 10:57. Air tower lost control or lost contact at 11 p.m. But here is the condition that you really want to be aware of. Winds were gusting to around 40 miles per hour at takeoff, and if the plane wasn't de-iced, that could really cause some problems. Now, let's show you the current search conditions about 2 miles offshore and then expanded toward the northeast now. Currently, lake water temp 36 frigid degrees. The seas, or the waves, I should say, 5 to 7 feet, and that has prompted a small craft advisory. Winds out of the west now 22 miles per hour with gusts to near 30 miles per hour. Certainly brutal out there if you're trying to search or survive. Again, we've got scattered snow showers moving in and off the lake, all right, moving across the lake and inland, as you can see. Some of the bursts of snow are briefly moderate to heavy. So at 5 p.m., 32 degrees with scattered snow. 7 p.m., it's 31 with scattered snow. And at 10 p.m., still a few lingering snow showers and temps right around 30 degrees. Tara and Rob.
Moving on now to a 911 call about a dangerous drunk driver in Garfield Heights that was never relayed to police or first responders.
It has people who live there absolutely furious, many taking to social media to vent, calling the city's regional dispatch center a major problem. Now, guys, I got in touch with the chief of police and the dispatch center today to find out how this happened and if anything's being done to make sure it doesn't happen again. When you dial this number, it's because you need help and you need it fast. But that didn't happen here in Garfield Heights, when a 911 caller reported a dangerously drunk driver on busy Turney and Rockside roads, and police never showed up.
Came out that the Garfield Heights police refused to respond to the call, and that simply was not the case.
Police Chief Robert Byrne is out of the office today. He told me over the phone 911 dispatchers never told police about the call.
They got a call for a possible drunk driver. They didn't put it out to our cars, and they were wrong for doing that.
Garfield Heights 911 calls go through a regional SECC dispatch center. That center also takes calls for Bedford, Bedford Heights, and Maple Heights.
But Chief, does this incident demonstrate an issue with regional dispatching?
He said no, but
It's probably going through some growing pains. You took 4 cities and put them together. So you now have dispatchers that, they once worked for strictly Garfield Heights. Now they're working for 3 other cities.
in an effort to save money, Garfield Heights merged their dispatch center back in 2013. It reportedly saved the city about $160,000. I asked the chief if years later, that decision is affecting the safety of the people who live here through incidents like this one.
But after something like this, can residents who call 911 know there's going to be a response, know that they're going to be safe?
And calls that could be a safety issue, we respond immediately.
He said this incident is being reviewed by the dispatch center, so I called the center's manager, Greg Duber. Duber told me there's no way he will do an on-camera interview, instead saying, quote, "We took a complaint and dispatchers failed to get it out. We are dealing with it internally." Garfield Heights residents told me they appreciate the chief's response to this issue, but they plan to bring it up at the next city council meeting. We will stay on top of this and bring you the very latest.
Cleveland serial killer Anthony Sowell's fate will not change. The Ohio Supreme Court says it won't reconsider the death penalty for Sowell. The court was asked to re-examine his 2011 conviction and death sentence earlier this month. Sowell was convicted of killing 11 women and hiding their remains in and around his East Side home.
Tied up and held at knife point. I told you about a bold burglary at Mentor's TJ Maxx just earlier this week. Now we're learning about a similar crime in Willoughby. Willoughby police just sent us these surveillance photos of a man who robbed a check into cash at knife point just days before the TJ Maxx robbery. He appears to be dressed in a similar way. Police say he carried a large white bag and demanded all of the store's $50 and $100 bills. Tellers gave him all the cash in their drawers. Willoughby and Mentor police will work together to investigate these crimes that are possibly related.
The new year means a new tax increase for the city of Cleveland. Starting January 1st, the city's income tax rate jumps from 2% to 2.5%. It doesn't just cover Cleveland residents either. The 0.5% increase applies to anybody who works in the city as well. Now, to put that in perspective, if you make $50,000 a year, you'll pay about an extra $250. That tax increase is expected to raise an additional $80 million a year for Cleveland. That money will be used for the police department, violence prevention, city maintenance, and equipment.
The King's social media blowing up, this time for his birthday. That's right, LeBron James turned 32 today, and for his special day, get this, LeBron kindly requests that people stop comparing him to Michael Jordan.
That'd be a good present. This weekend, Ohio State set to make its 8th appearance in the Fiesta Bowl, but this year, the stakes have never been higher. The Buckeyes face off against the Clemson Tigers tomorrow night in Glendale, Arizona. Kickoff 7 p.m. Ohio State a 3-point favorite. If the Buckeyes win, They would play in the College Football Playoff National Championship game January 9th. That game's in Tampa. Still ahead for us here on The Now as 2016 comes to a close. We're taking a closer look at a campaign to keep you safe on our highways, something a lot of us are thinking about right now during this holiday weekend.
You're watching The Now Cleveland. Stay with us. We are back in 3 minutes.
Hi, sure. Last year across Ohio, 27 people died in accidents between Christmas Day and New Year's Day. Nearly a dozen of those deaths occurred.
Right now, a live look at traffic around the city. Pretty quiet as we kick off another holiday weekend, but many of you will still soon be on the move to ring in the new year. The Now's Mike Brookbank joins us now from along I-90 in Cleveland. Mike, sadly, we know this is a pretty deadly time on our highways.
Yeah, Tara, it is. Last year across Ohio, 27 people died in accidents between Christmas and New Year's Day. Nearly a dozen of those deaths occurring in crashes involving alcohol. Right now, electronic billboards like this one above I-71 in Cleveland show drive times. In just a few hours, they're going to show a message just in time for New Year's Eve: booze it and lose it. It's part of the Ohio Department of Transportation's ongoing effort to keep our highways safe. And you may have noticed some of the other witty warnings. Santa sees you speeding to get you to slow down, and what's ho-ho holding you back to encourage seatbelt use. Clever messages like these have been trying to motivate drivers for months. But while ODOT says there's no way to look at the signs and say they make a difference statistically speaking, they're gauging their success another way.
We saw someone say that seatbelt looks good on you, actually encouraged another driver that they noticed on I-90 actually reach over and pull their seatbelt down. We know that when people are paying attention to those messages and reacting to those messages, that's what we want.
The electronic safety billboard campaign actually It was briefly suspended this year.
We seem to be having a few technical difficulties. We'll bring you that information from Mike Brookbank later today. But there is a big safety concern prompting Honda to recall nearly 650,000 Odyssey minivans. The recall covers 2011 to 2016 model years, and Honda says a lever used to move the van's second row seats forward to access the third row could remain in an unlocked position, causing the seats to move unexpectedly. Honda will notify owners, and dealers will fix the issue for free.
We're staying on top of this developing story for you. Right now, Russia holding off retaliating one day after the U.S. leveled sanctions against Russia for hacking into our election process. Russian President Vladimir Putin says he will not kick Americans out of the country, even though the U.S. has given 35 Russian diplomats until Sunday to leave the U.S. Putin says he'll wait to see what incoming President Donald Trump does moving forward. Russia continues to deny any hacking took place. Meanwhile, Republican Senator John McCain has scheduled a hearing for Thursday to look further into cyber threats against the U.S. Trump releasing a statement saying it's time to move on to bigger and better things, although he said he will meet next week with leaders from the intelligence community to get updated information.
Scammers posing as hitmen and texting threatening messages. It was first reported in Alabama, and now it's happening across the country. The sender says, quote, "I've been paid to kill you, but I wish to spare you. Inform the police or anyone else and you will die." Scary, right? The text includes an email address to contact immediately. And while the death threat is fake, police say the messages contain dangerous malware, which copies to your contacts, then sends the message to all of them, too.
The ones that have received it were extremely concerned at first, obviously. That's a pretty serious threat. Obviously, they feel a little better when they have realized it's a scam. We've actually spoken with the local FBI office, and it's actually popped up nationwide.
Now, if you receive the menacing message or anything like it, police say delete it right away.
A family ski trip during the holidays turns deadly when a mother and her two young daughters fell out of a chairlift. The mom died, one of the girls seriously injured, and now investigators are trying to figure out how it all happened. ABC's Marcy Gonzalez sorts it out.
A heartbreaking and still unexplained deadly accident at this ski resort in Colorado.
EMS Station 1, respond to Ski Granby Ranch for 3 patients that fell from the chairlift approximately 25 feet.
Those 3 people who fell from an express lift Thursday morning, a 40-year-old woman from Texas and her 2 young daughters.
We do know that they fell from the chairlift, and immediately ski patrol was on scene.
The mother pronounced dead soon after. The 9-year-old girl's injuries so severe she was rushed to a hospital by helicopter. Her 12-year-old sister was taken by ambulance.
It's a sad day in the ski business. This type of incident is extremely rare.
Chairlifts are normally very safe. Over the past 4 decades, just 12 people have died from malfunctions. The ski industry says lifts are even safer than elevators. But accidents have happened. Last year, 7 people were hurt when this chairlift in Maine suddenly started rolling backwards. And just last week in Utah, this boy's backpack became caught in a ski lift, leaving him dangling. But he was quickly rescued. And at the resort in Colorado, the lift was closed so investigators can work to figure out what caused the accident. Meanwhile, that 12-year-old girl was released from the hospital. Her sister, though, is still being treated for her injuries. Marcy Gonzalez, ABC News, New York.
For the first time, a Texas mother is talking about her fall from a freeway bridge with her baby in her arms. Jennifer Duncan's learning how to walk again. She is in a wheelchair, but last May, she says she got into a fender bender on that bridge. She got out of her car holding her son to wait for first responders. That's when another wreck sent a car right at her, knocking her off the bridge 30 feet to the ground. She made a split-second decision.
I just tried to grab as tight as I can to him and try to realize that, you know, keeping him safe was my main concern. I kind of brought my knees up over him and put my arm there on his head.
Wow, that human cocoon she made protected her son from the impact. He only had a scratch. Duncan, though, was seriously injured. She lost a leg, shattered her pelvis. She spent 2 months in the hospital and another month in rehab.
The family of Debbie Reynolds and Carrie Fisher is planning their final farewell. We've learned there will be a dual funeral for the Hollywood legends. No details yet on when or where the service will take place, but family members say we can expect a celebration of their lives and love for each other. Debbie Reynolds died Wednesday following a stroke, and her daughter Carrie Fisher died just 1 day earlier after she went into cardiac arrest on an airplane. It's still unclear what caused the death of singer George Michael. Police in the UK say an autopsy conducted on the former pop star was inconclusive. More tests are expected, but the results are unlikely to be known for several weeks. George Michael was found dead at his home on Christmas Day. Initial reports suggested he died from heart failure. He was just 53 years old.
Ryan Seacrest, the host of ABC's Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve, ran into some technical difficulties in Times Square earlier today. Got stuck in an elevator on his way to record a segment for Good Morning America. Seacrest didn't seem to mind too much. He was snapping selfies with his fellow passengers. He tweeted about the whole thing. The New York Fire Department eventually came to the rescue.
New Year's rockin' elevator.
Yeah.
What
He
are
would
the
have done
other
it
people
from there,
in the
too.
elevator thing? Hey, Seacrest, what's up, man?
That's right.
Right?
Yeah, it's kind of a captive audience there.
I'll leave it there. What's going on?
Well, we got some snow out there. We got blustery conditions, wind chills in the teens and 20s. So let me show you what's going on around the area. Again, we're tracking the scattered lake effect snow coming into the west side. Southern areas down around Dover, New Philly, getting some flurries. Canton, some light snow. Same for Akron, Cleveland. In and around the region here, we'll zoom on in. Searchers right about here, and the snow is in and out. It will continue to be in and out across Lake Erie and Greater Cleveland through the evening hours. Some heavier bands here now through Ashtabula County from Geneva through Jefferson into Pierpont, and then south into Trumbull County there, just out of Bristolville into Mecca and down toward Warren. Here's where we have our lake snow warning through 10 p.m. and there is our lake snow advisory for Lake, Ashtabula, and Trumbull counties through 10 p.m. Additional snowfall will be mainly concentrated out east into the snow belt with anywhere from a dusting to maybe an inch or two of additional snow. The rest of us, it's flurries and light accumulations through the evening. So your temps, 6 p.m., some scattered snow around near 30, upper 20s to near 30 by 8 p.m., and still in the upper 20s by 10 p.m. Scattered snow should begin to wane between 9 and 10 p.m. and say bye-bye to that for about 12 hours. Until tomorrow. Back to you.
Thanks, Mark. Another year has come and gone, and a lot of our savings went with it. How you may be wasting money and not even realize it.
Quick, Tara, what are we looking at?
A beautiful tower, the most majestic of all.
Thanks for watching the Now Cleveland. We're back in 3 minutes.
Where? Rob, tell me where to go.
I'm sorry.
Chroma key? Okay.
Right on the
Oh,
end.
boy!
Right on the end.
Oh. Okay.
What a funny little weirdo. How wonderful you are. Power Swabs, the world's most advanced teeth whitening system.
It's the Rob Power Swab.
Call now, 1-800-270-8863. We can get your teeth seven shades whiter. 7 shades.
It's
Just
the
do this.
Rob Power Swabs. You too can be tall and lanky.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's what I mean. They're
Okay. Okay. I will jump.
Hey, who would you rather? So, have you finished all of your holiday returns yet? Apparently, a lot of us haven't. Right now, UPS is bracing for the onslaught. UPS says it expects to handle more than 5.8 million return packages next week. The busiest day will be next Thursday, January 5th. It's known as National Returns Day. They're going to process 1.3 million that day alone. And when it comes to returns, we're running into fewer hassles nowadays as well. UPS did a study that shows over the last 5 years, we've had fewer issues paying for return shipping and restocking fees, fewer delays getting credit back or refunds as well. UPS also found 7 out of 10 online shoppers make additional purchases when they return something to a store. Nearly 5 out of 10 buy something else when doing the return on the store's website. That's good news because the National Retail Federation estimates all those returns add up to more than $260 billion in lost sales.
Wow. Everyone hates to waste money, but believe it or not, that's exactly what all of us have been doing all year long. According to the financial planner Dave Ramsey, this is what Americans have spent too much money on. Coffee shops, those fancy drinks can really add up, especially if you get one every day. Car loans, Experian reports the average car payment is $483 a month. And lottery tickets, those odds are never in your favor.
All right, weather-wise, Rob, do you see what's coming our way? We got 2 areas of precip. Means your New Year's Eve might be a little soggy. More on that coming up.
Breaking right now, the search for a missing plane. It seemingly vanished after taking off from Burke Lakefront Airport late last night.
We know 6 people were on board the plane at the time. Right now, Air Tracker 5 is flying high above Lake Erie, where the Coast Guard is still searching. 3 adults and 3 children left Cleveland after the Cavs game and were headed to Ohio State University in Columbus. But shortly after takeoff, the Cessna vanished off the radar about 2 miles from Lake Erie's shores. Snow and rough waves making the search especially challenging, despite that water temperatures in the 30s. Coast Guard officials believe survivors could still be found. FAA records show the plane was registered to Maverick Air LLC. Out of Columbus, John T. Fleming was both the pilot and the owner of the plane. The names of the other people on board have not been released, but we're told Fleming's family was all on board.
Fleming is the president and CEO of the Superior Beverage Group, which is based in Columbus. That company just released a statement this afternoon saying, while search efforts are underway, we are focusing our efforts on supporting the families involved. We appreciate the concern and thoughtfulness extended by so many. We'll keep an eye on that for you throughout the afternoon. It's a rough one. So as we head outside right now, you could not help but feel that the cold, the wind, everything just hitting you, yeah.
Big time chill out there. And again, the search area for the missing plane. This is the last known contact, about 2 miles from downtown to the north, slightly west of north now. And the search area has been expanded because winds are out of the north and west, so it possibly could have turned this way and come down anywhere within the search area up toward Euclid. So the latest details: search expanded northeast, no debris or wreckage, and 6 people on board. The conditions are not real good for search and rescue operations. Waves 5 to 7 feet, wind gusts to 30 miles per hour. Currently, some scattered snow around Cleveland, 32, Akron, 30 and cloudy, Ashtabula, some snow, 26. Look at these wind chills, 14 for Ashtabula. Cleveland's wind chill is about 19 degrees right now, 17 for Mansfield. So it is brutally cold around the area now. So your evening, 32 with scattered snow through 5 and 7, and the snow should begin to wind down after 9 p.m. tonight, but we'll still mention a flurry with temps falling slowly down to 30 degrees.
Mark, have you seen this? Parts of the U.S. heading into the New Year weekend, digging out from feet of snow. That's David McLean from Maine. He was running late for work after his snowblower broke, so he hooked up a plow to his ATV just so he could get out. Parts of Maine got more than 27 inches of snow in this latest winter blast, and this afternoon, tens of thousands of people are now dealing with, well, no power. Video out of New Hampshire showing similar conditions here. The storm was hitting yesterday. We do know of one person who was killed in Vermont after his car slid off the road.
Millions of Americans will begin the new year making a little more cash. On Sunday, minimum wages going up in 19 states, including ours. Workers in Ohio will see a 5-cent increase. Massachusetts and Washington State will have the highest new minimum wage in the U.S. at $11 an hour. And Arizona has the biggest increase, up $1.95 to $10 an hour. That's actually one of the largest one-time minimum wage increases ever. The federal minimum wage remains $7.25 an hour, and it has not gone up since 2009.
It's a cold, hard truth. Ex-cons face a stigma that can force them back into unemployment. But there's a unique program helping some of the more vulnerable rejoin society with a new job. The Now's Adam Hammond takes us inside the Mile High Workshop.
This is my 3rd day. When I got here, I didn't know anything about wood. Anything.
It may look like Will Quartz is building a cutting board, but he's actually rebuilding his life.
I'm getting paid to learn a trade that will carry me through the rest of my life, a career. Back to work.
It's Will's 3rd day walking into his new job here at the Mile High Workshop. Walking out of a chapter filled with anxiety and depression with the comfort of hope and a future.
I'm working to learn, I'm working to help out this program, and I also get paid to do it. Like the pay is like a bonus.
Will is one of 25 people transitioning out of jail, substance abuse, mental health challenges, or homelessness, working here at the Mile High Workshop.
We do manufacturing, packaging, assembly, and distribution.
And they provide opportunities for people at a time when hearing you're hired can be pretty hard to come by.
When we offer them a job, it comes at a time in their lives when they've been told no a lot. You know, they've been told they're nothing worse than their offense or whatever their current life situation might be, and they've been beat down quite a bit most of the time. There's caseworkers here that I see daily, and for once a week we have a big meeting, and we track my progress. I mean, it's not just throw me in there, throw me to the wolves.
I sew in here and I help manage the other seamstresses.
When Alyssa Elzinga heard you're hired, she felt value during her addiction recovery.
I wasn't sure if I was ready to work yet or not, but I came and applied, and this has really been an amazing part of my rebuilding my life.
Each day, employees learn a new life principle like integrity. And after 9 months of learning these new job and life skills, the workshop helps people find new permanent jobs.
Whenever we get to reach back out to people and hear like, hey, I'm doing good, things with my family are good again, I mean, that just totally makes it all worth it.
For The Now, I'm Adam Hammond.
Well, the Mile High Workshop is based out of Denver, but the hope here is to use it as a model for the entire nation to help people in need find jobs. Right now, it contracts with more than 100 businesses. Good idea.
Very cool. Very good idea. Still ahead on the Now Cleveland. The countdown is on in Times Square. Will the New Year's Eve crystal ball be ready for its big drop? Mark's ready for the big drop.
What are you doing? What?
Dancing.
I was doing a little dance. All right, here's the weekend, the big transition from 2016 to 2017. 41 degrees Saturday, New Year's Eve. Yeah, it's a rain-snow mix, but the good news is it should be done as we ring in the new year. Sunday, dry, mainly cloudy, about 42 degrees. Happy New Year. More to come.
Delivered. Hey, sure. 7 Mary Victor 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Check 1, 2. Check, check.
No, you didn't miss the ball drop. This is dress rehearsal for the New Year's Eve festivities in Times Square. Today, they tested the ball's more than 32,000 LED lights. At noon today, that ball made the journey up to the top of the 130-foot pole at One Times Square. The ball and 3,000 pounds of confetti are going to be dropped right there tomorrow night. Now, we told you about security measures to make sure this year's ball drop in Times Square goes off without a hitch.
Because even if we aren't there in New York City to see it in person, many of us will watch it on TV. But have you ever wondered how it all started? The first was back in 1907, that first New Year's Eve ball made of iron and wood. featured 125-watt bulbs. It weighed 700 pounds, and it was 5 feet in diameter.
All right, compare that to today's ball. It's more than twice as big, 12 feet in diameter. It weighs nearly 12,000 pounds. It's covered in nearly 2,700 Waterford crystal triangles and has 32,000 LEDs.
As for the idea of dropping the ball, that dates back to 1833. The first time the ball was on the Royal Observatory in England. It dropped at 1 o'clock each afternoon so passing ships could set their navigational instruments.
No history lesson there. If you are looking for a different way to ring in the new year, turn your eyes to the skies. NASA says a comet will fly by tomorrow night. You're going to need a telescope or a good set of binoculars. Just look west toward the crescent moon just after sunset. Should be to the left of the moon. This comet buzzes this part of the solar system every 5 years. And oh yeah, by the way, NASA also says 2017 is going to be a good year for viewing comets. There should be another good show come up in early February.
Sounds cool. Do you have a telescope?
No.
Neither do I.
Nor do I have a good set of binoculars. But we know they're coming, Mark.
Yes. I'm sure Mark has them.
Still ahead for us here on the Now.
When you think of printing, you probably think of paper, not knee and hip joints. I'm Kumasi Aaron. How 3D printing technology is personalizing replacement surgeries.
Live look right now at traffic. Oh, golly, everything moving just fine and dandy, as are we. The Now Cleveland comes back in a second.
Welcome back to the Now Cleveland. John Rutter with you in Air Tracker 5 this afternoon, keeping an eye on the Coast Guard C1 or the Canadian Air C-130 plane that is searching the area, a 16 by 8 nautical mile area off the coast. We have been seeing a number of aircraft in the area searching for that missing plane that took off from BURKE Lakefront Airport. We have seen water. This is the Coast Guard boat, the Bristol Bay, that is search that we have seen this afternoon. Again, there's coast a area of about 16 by 8 nautical miles.
Okay, John Rutter high above it all right now over Lake Erie as the search continues. John, we'll check back in with you in just a bit. Get that microphone checked out and fixed for our viewers. Thank you very much. We move on now. An anonymous donor helping the Salvation Army meet its Christmas fundraising goal. Yeah, that's nice enough, but it's how the person made the donation that's an even bigger surprise. The Now's Paul Kiska joining us live tonight from Elyria. Hi, Paul.
Well, hello, Rob. You know the holiday season is about giving, and one Secret Santa delivered quite a surprise to the Salvation Army here in Elyria. Every donation helps the Salvation Army. But the Elyria Salvation Army was $5,000 short of its Christmas fundraising goal. But then, someone anonymously started dropping these gold coins into the red Christmas kettles. 10 gold coins in all. With gold prices up, the Salvation Army got their wish and hit their goal. Jim Vandemark, owner of Vandemark Jewelers, told me today the half-ounce gold coins are worth $540 each. The Elyria Salvation Army sold the coins to Vandemark for $5,400, hitting their holiday goal of $90,000. The money will go a long way to helping the less fortunate.
What a great citizen, there's no doubt about it. In the world we live in today, of course, there's a lot of naysayers, and to think that somebody has that type of generosity, but yet wish to be anonymous and doesn't want the notoriety of it. It's very humbling to think somebody's out there doing good.
And the Salvation Army told me today they want this anonymous donor to know that they are very grateful and consider the donations a blessing. Live in Elyria, Paul Kiska for The Now.
Thanks, Paul. Great story there. Now, stores are trading on the goodwill of Run DMC. That's what the hip-hop group says in a lawsuit just filed against some pretty big retailers.
Here we go. It's tricky to rock around. That's right, on time is tricky.
DMC is suing Walmart, Amazon, and some of their other retail partners like Jet.com for $50 million. It says the stores are confusing shoppers and implying the group endorses products like glasses, shirts, and hats that use its name and logo without permission. Amazon and Walmart have not responded to the lawsuit.
It's one of President Obama's legacies, and he's apparently going to fight to keep it. We're learning today he will meet with congressional Democratic leaders Wednesday so they can come up with a plan to block Republican efforts to repeal Obamacare. Part of that strategy includes ways to strengthen the Affordable Care Act. Democrats also planning a public relations campaign to highlight what the program's actually done for an estimated 20 million Americans who'd otherwise be uninsured or denied benefits.
Most kids want toys for Christmas, but one 3-year-old Alabama boy got a suit instead. That's because Woods McFarland wants to dress like his local meteorologist. Looking at you, Mark. A guy named Jason Smith. Woods' mom posted this video of his ecstatic son's reaction and, of course, his weather forecast.
Tomorrow it's going to be spring, Daddy.
The super cute video already has more than 50,000 views, including one from meteorologist Jason Smith. Smith invited the boy to the TV station so they could meet in person, and the little boy even got to help out with the forecast.
They look like twins. That is awesome.
They could look, yeah.
Look at that. We're expecting spring. Anything like that ever happen with you?
No. No. Well, you know, a long time ago.
Yeah.
Everybody looks up to Mark Johnson. I know I do.
No, I'm not that tall. Here we go.
Exactly. Try it from over here, pal.
Yeah, that's right. Power of 5. We've got some scattered snow showers coming in off the lake, but they should begin to end through the evening hours and taper off, and then we're in for some drying. Tomorrow we'll start off dry, but then we get a rain-snow mix moving our way for the afternoon and evening, and I think for the most part it should be done by the ringing in of the new year. 30 degrees currently Elyria, 29 Medina, 32 Cleveland, 31 in Akron, 28 in Ravenna. Look at these wind speeds. Out of the west, a 20-mile-an-hour current wind speed with gusts to 30 miles per hour. So your wind chills feel like 20 in Cleveland, 18 in Ravenna, 16 Ashtabula to Youngstown, 17 with the wind chill in Mansfield. Your winds are going to stay up through the overnight, although they'll slowly come down, boom, as we head after the midnight hour as the snow ends and the skies begin to clear just a little bit. So your weather window tonight, scattered snow. We'll continue to see the snow tapering off. I think between 8 and 10 it should be done. 29 degrees at midnight for Cleveland, 26 degrees by midnight in Akron and Canton.
Thank you, Mark. Our newsroom hard at work right now getting ready for News 5 at 5.
Frank Wiley's joining us live with a preview. Hey, Frank, what's the latest?
What's going on there, guys? Mark is distracting us, isn't he? I'm calling him out. We're following this today.
Definitely a flicker of hope. It carries loved ones as they wait for official answers to a major question out there. Where is that small plane that has 2 families on board? Also, the countdown, it is on. The new year, inching closer, and so is concern about your safety on the road. We'll break down the numbers that point to drivers who have been drinking. Those stories and much more tonight on News 5 at 5.
Look forward to it, Frank. Thank you. You know, people are going wild over the arrival of these baby eagles. A crack appeared in one of the eggs yesterday in their nest. This is in Fort Myers, Florida. Since then, literally tens of thousands of eyes have been glued to the live camera, just waiting for the big moment. Isn't that great?
Forget about one size fits all. This new technology could revolutionize knee and hip replacement surgery, making the whole process more bearable. The Now's Kamasi Aaron shows us how it works.
It's only a few steps, but for Gary King, each one brings more pain.
If I walk with my knee probably about 500 feet, if that, I'm in a lot of pain.
After a series of accidents injured his legs, he had his right knee replaced. And when arthritis flared up in his left, he asked his doctor about another replacement surgery.
He looked at it and he called me one night and he says, Gary, this is a little bit too difficult.
His doctor suggested a customized knee replacement using 3D printing.
And I thought, man, this is the way to go, way for me to try.
We can then figure out what would be straight.
Gary connected with Dr. Ian Dickey, an orthopedic surgeon.
Why would you want to have to fit a knee replacement? Why wouldn't the knee replacement fit you?
Dr. Dickey says that's the advantage of 3D printed knee replacements. After scanning the patient's hip, knee, and ankle bones, computer programs are then able to design and then print an implant that's accurate and almost perfectly aligned for them. Standard implants, he says, aren't as personalized.
It then knows, oh, wait a minute, you need to be 73.6221 millimeters wide, or whatever the case may be. So it can then print the implant to fit perfectly side to side, front to back.
Dr. Dickey says patients have less pain, a better recovery, and a more stable and natural feeling knee. Just days away from his surgery, Gary is hopeful he'll experience those things and more.
Waking up from surgery and have him say everything went well and you're ready to ride a bike. I'm really looking forward to it.
For the Now, I'm Kamasi Aaron.
Dr. Dickey says knee replacement surgery using a 3D printed implant is a good option for anyone in need of a knee replacement, regardless of age.
No, this isn't a new sci-fi movie. This is an actual robot. It's 13 feet tall. A company in South Korea unveiling the robot this week. One of its uses could be to work in hazardous places. There's a potential problem, though. The robot's so heavy the ground shakes when it walks. Just one of the arms of the robot weighs more than 280 pounds. The whole thing, 1.5 tons. The price, $8 million. It could be a problem as well. We've shown you mannequin challenges before, but this one may be one of the best.
That's right. Imagine holding perfectly still in zero gravity, floating weightless. That's what the astronauts did on board the International Space Station.
One of the astronauts with the European Space Agency posted this on Facebook. We took the mannequin challenge to new heights, he said. The result, kind of sci-fi spooky, don't you think?
Yeah, it's a little spooky, but spooky or not, we love the result. Great job. And hey, we'll be right back.
Yes, I'm right here and I'm ready to go. Where would you like me? You got it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's right. I know where to go.
Sarah Buttison in the house.
Hey.
I feel like we're supposed to give them Cheez-Its and juice boxes or something.
Yeah. Yep. Huh. They are? Oh, I can hear it now. Okay. Hey.
Through federal records.
They hope they may be waning as darkness falls this evening. There's still no sign of the small. As 2016 comes to a close, we're looking back at some of the year's most memorable moments.
Sure are. A lot of them going viral on social media. Jeremy Roth showing us some of the more shared stories of 2016.
2016 was a year chock full of viral trends. Are you ready? On your mark, get set.
Pokemon Go.
The digital scavenger hunt became a phenomenon seemingly overnight, with players searching for invisible Pokemon on the streets, on the front lines, even in the State Department.
You're playing the Pokemon thing right there, aren't you?
And because we can't have nice things, it also led to the discovery of dead bodies, people being robbed, and drivers playing when they shouldn't. 2016 ends up being known for the election, and the election ends up being known for its debates, then the debates will surely be known for the bone. Ken Bone. The bespectacled red sweater debate contributor was a viral sensation no one saw coming. In a debate with no winners, Ken came out on top, garnering a huge social media following and eventually his very own iZod commercial. After a 3-year-old child fell into a gorilla enclosure at the Cincinnati Zoo, authorities were forced to shoot and kill a gorilla named Harambe, a name that would become synonymous with animal rights. The shooting sparked international coverage of the incident, social media debates on the actions taken, protests, snarky memes, and hashtag cries for justice for Harambe, a Twitter handle that is still trending online. One woman's self-inflicted case of the giggles led to international stardom after a viral video of a mom chuckling at a Chewbacca mask became the laugh heard round the world. The Chewbacca mom enjoyed her 15 viral minutes by doing the talk show circuit, tattooing her claim to fame on her arm, even meeting the real Chewbacca, Peter Mayhew. Who's laughing now? 2016 also saw some viral trends that nobody wanted. Case in point, those creepy clowns. Sightings of weirdos in scary clown masks reportedly started in South Carolina, but began popping up all around the country with no explanation. Most posed no real threat, but it gave everyone the willies anyway. 2016 finished strong, though, with a viral trend we could all enjoy, the mannequin challenge. Everyone was striking a pose with their respective squads. The more bizarre, the better. Celebrities, athletes, even presidential candidates got in on the action, or should I say, inaction. I'm Jeremy Roth, reporting.
That is it for the Now. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. News 5 at 5 starts right now.